Hi everyone, this is Keval. I'm a table tennis chopper. Currently, I'm playing with short pips, but I have also played with long pips for many years. So I know the difference between chopping with short pips as well as chopping with long pips. And I get this question a lot, like what are the major differences between short pips and long pips chopping? So I thought let's make a short video explaining this. And this is my first video in which I'm explaining things. I hope you guys like it. Okay, so let's get into the topic: long pips versus short pips. So I have made a small list about the things which I feel they have the differences in. So okay, let's start. So first thing is control. Like if if any beginner chopper who's going to start to learn how to do chopping, I would suggest that they start with long pips, because long pips has a really good control, especially when you use in very thin sponge or in OX like 0.5 or OX. It gives a very good control. Like you hit the ball and ball like 95, it will mostly go nice in a very low height, net level height, and it will always go on that side of the table. Yeah, so consistency is much more better in long pips. But while in short pips, since you have to create your own spin, so it's difficult to control your opponent's top spin. Yeah, so, and you will make many errors, at least in the beginning. Slowly when you play, you become better, then the control will increase. But in the beginning, it's really difficult to play with short pips, especially chopping. The ball will just come. Yeah, I used to play with long pips I played for many years now, and then when I changed to short pips in 2018, it was really difficult. Man. For at least for 2-3 years, it was so difficult. First time I remember when the ball came, I chopped, it just went like this, like into the sky. It was so difficult. Yeah, so you get good control in long pips and okay control in short pips, but that is in the beginning level. Yeah, slowly you play and it becomes better. Second thing, how the long pips chopping works. In long pips, it works on the reversal of the spin. The more top spin the ball has when you chop, the more backspin it will go back. That's the general rule. In higher and advanced level, you can even give the empty ball, but that is the topic for the different day. So right now we'll focus on this. So if your opponent does a very good topspin with a good attack with very good topspin, when you chop, it will automatically go in a very good backspin. So you don't have to worry about the backspin. The rubber will do its job and it will go. The opponent topspin will become backspin. It will go very nice, like with heavy backspin. But while in short pips, you have to create your own spin. Like every time the ball comes, you have to brush the ball on the side a little back. Imagine you're doing the backhand backspin serve, and then you would extend the same action in chopping motion. So that's how you generate your own spin. So yeah, that's why that brings me to the first topic, that why it is difficult to control. Yeah, because every time you are generating your own spin in short pips, but while in long pips, you just hit the ball, the pimple bends, and it does the job due to the reversal. Yeah. So because of that, yeah, as I told you, whenever the topspin ball comes, it goes back in backspin in long pips. At least at the beginning, you can again I'm telling you, you can vary, but not that much. But in short pips, since you're creating your own spin every time you're brushing the ball and you're creating your own backspin, you can vary the ball too much. Yeah, the variation is too good in short pips. You can give very heavy ball or very empty ball, and the action is almost same. It's very difficult to judge for the opponent when very heavy backspin is coming or the dummy ball or the float ball is coming. So it becomes very difficult for the opponent. Yeah, that brings us to the next point, the predictability. In long pips, you have good control, so you will have good rallies. Yeah, but it's very predictable for the opponent. Yeah, see, when they do a good topspin, when you chop, it goes with heavy backspin. But whenever do a dummy ball, like no spin and dummy ball, when you chop, so now there is no spin to work with. When they attack with a dummy ball, there is very less topspin and no spin, almost like very less topspins. When you chop, it will go back in a float ball. But while in short pips, it doesn't matter. Yeah, whenever they do heavy topspin, you can do a heavy backspin, or even if they don't do a heavy topspin, they just like do a dummy like this. Still, you can do very heavy backspin. Yeah, you can cut the ball very heavy. The touch and just goes like chuck, and if they attack, it will go into the net. That's the power of short pips. Yeah, the control is with you. You can vary the ball, like whatever the spin is coming. Yeah, it is difficult for you to control in the beginning, but slowly as you master it, the control will increase, and then it's very difficult for the opponent to understand, because you can vary. The variation is like next level, bro. Yeah. One thing I used to face this problem when I was using long pips, when the opponent does a long service. Yeah, what they'll do a long service, I'll receive, it will go with backspin, but okay, and then do boom. They'll go for a boomba, and it will be difficult for me to bring that ball back. While in short pips, whenever they do a long service, I can cut the ball so heavy that they cannot do a boomba. It will go back in the net, directly into the net. Yeah, and yeah, I can even give the float balls on the topspin services. Before, when they used to do topspin service, I'll receive, it will go heavy. It is okay batsmen, so they can go for Bumba in long pips. But in short pips, when they serve, I can give empty as well. I can give very heavy batsman balls, so they cannot go for Bumba. Then they'll be so scared to attack fast. It will go into the net directly, and then they'll start lifting the ball and they'll start committing more errors. Yeah, it's good for me. Yep. And that's the one of the good point about about short pips, that you can receive the service, long service as well as short service with very good heavy batsman with a low height. So it's very difficult for the opponent to directly attack very strong after the service in short pips. Yeah, and one more point is that when you're using long pips, if you use the long pips in OX or in 0.5, then it's difficult to generate heavy batsmen in the push. Like your opponent attack, you chop, that goes with heavy batsmen, and then they push. And when you come inside and push the ball, it almost, if you're using a very thin sponge, then it almost goes with a loose ball, like an empty ball. So then the next time what they can do, they'll attack, it will go out. But slowly as the game goes on, they'll understand the predictability. Then what they'll do, they will close the angle and they'll go for Bumba. You can create a heavy batsman ball if you use a thicker sponge like 1.2 or maybe more than 1.0. So there are very good rubbers like Victas Curl P1V, Butterfly Feint Long 3, Feint Long 2, in which you can give good heavy batsmen in pushes. In rally chop and then push, you can create the heavy batsman ball. But in short pips, that is also next level. When they attack, you chop, and when they drop, you come inside and push. It goes with so much of batsmen. If they're not careful, they hit, it will go directly into the net. Directly into the net. So they have to be very conscious. And the same action when you sometimes it goes empty. That depends on the spin. That is also a different topic I'll teach you later. But right now the general rule is, whenever they push and they push like this, they attack, I chop, they push, and I can create very heavy batsmen in pushes in short pips. Yeah. Now in long pips, since you are able to give loose ball, like the empty ball, and whenever you want, you just touch the ball like this and push. The next ball you can expect to pop up and you can attack. So you can plan your attack like that. Okay, opponent has attacked, you chop, you know they're going to push back, you come inside and push the ball empty. Then they'll push again, it will come up and you can boom, attack. But in short pips, you have to be ready, you have to be conscious, because it doesn't depend on the action, it depends on the spin. You chop, they push, you push inside, it will go with very heavy batsmen. They push, it will come net level. But many times it comes high because of the spin variation. Again, I told you, that's a topic for the next one. I'll teach you. But the general rule is, whenever using long pips, you can give an empty loose ball with the pips and you can attack the next ball. But while short pips, it's a little bit difficult to do that because most of the time it goes with good batsman ball. So with all this in long pips, you can predict longer rallies as the game begins. In the beginning, it will be difficult for the opponent to understand, for at least maybe for a few points. They attack, you chop, it will go with very heavy batsmen. They again attack, it will go into the net. But slowly they adapt. And as the match goes on and then slowly they'll adapt and the rallies will become longer. In short pips, in the beginning, if you have a very good variation, then you cannot let your opponent to get set. The best example for this is Wing Chao. Wing Chao, if you watch his matches, the rallies are quite short and the variations is like too much. The opponent is not able to answer one ball, they will hit in the net, and next ball it just float out. So because of the variation, because since in short pips you are creating your own spin, you can give heavy backspin and empty ball whenever you want. So the rallies are quite short. They are shorter, but not every time. Like if you see Han Ying's matches, Han Ying, the rallies goes on and on. That is there. But in general rule of thumb is, in short pips the rally is a little bit shorter. Why? Because you are creating more variation, which creates more error from the opponent, and you get the point easily. But again, the thing is, it's difficult to control short pips in the beginning. Long pips are good to control. So if you want to choose, I would suggest you start with the long pips, then you practice practice for some time, for maybe for few years, and then you'll get the hang of it, like what the actually difference thing is there. And then if you want, you can change to short pips. General thing is, long pips, like in my opinion, if I talk about my case, if I play with long pips, it's easier for me to play with long pips, but it is more easier for the opponent also to play against me. But if I play with short pips, it's difficult for me to play with short pips, but it's much more difficult for the opponent to play. I hope that makes sense. And that's all, I guess. If you have any more questions or you want to add on to this, you can please write in the comments. Thank you. Bye.